and happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us for your Friday night Smackdown review for September 22nd already. What is going on? We are flying through on time, people. My goodness. But guys, Sean's going to be back in just a moment. He actually just got a phone call that is pertinent to what he's going to be talking about on the stream, I believe. So he will be back to discuss a lot of things that happened this week. Unfortunately, it was a lot of cuts. Last week we had the corporate cuts. This week we had the talent cuts, of course. So there's lots going on to fill you in on. So Sean's going to be back after he takes that phone call. But until he comes back, I will ask you to get in your super chats, get in your humper chats if there's anything that you want to talk about, get your question or statement read on air. Today, people are talking about in the chat already. Matt Riddle was released. There were releases earlier in the week for both NXT and the main roster. Never a fun day in our world. Never a fun day in Sean's world, particularly because he's usually the one breaking that news. So certainly from Fightful to all of them, you know, we just send out our thoughts, healing thoughts at the time that this is, because that sucks. Losing your job in any industry absolutely sucks. So our best to all of the wonderful talent. I'm sure a lot of them have very bright futures ahead in whatever they choose to do next. So good on them. There were some behavioral things I know with a couple of them, but this I think is supposed to be the end of the road, hopefully. And it looks like Sean might be rejoining. So before he does, wrestling is for everyone, Fightful for everyone. We're gonna get into it. Hi, Sean. My light is way too bright. I am glowing like an angel. You talk while I fix my light.
Yeah. So I want to address and some unfortunate news that won't be like long-term unfortunate news. Whoa! Look at that. I accidentally switched to just Kate. I am not good at these. There we go. So, Fightful Select had reported tonight that LA Knight was indeed set to be a heavily featured player on the main event segment of SmackDown. Quite frankly, I'll tell you guys what was supposed to happen. Virtually everything you saw, and then LA Knight was going to come out and make the save, sign the contract, likely be a part of this. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I have confirmed with people within WWE, and it's okay for me to reveal this. He tested positive for COVID right before the show. I mean, like, right before the show, and unfortunately had to leave the building. Obviously, it's 2023. They're expecting him to heal up, get better soon, and hopefully be back into the fold and all that stuff. But he was immediately taken from the building as to not, risk anybody else.
Well, glad to see that they are being cautious, because there's just not anything in wrestling that's more important than keeping people safe and protected. So that's good to hear. And also that it's not a long-term injury, right? We knew he wasn't on the show, knew it wasn't medical, but to find out that, hopefully, assuming that there's no complications, right? We've unfortunately seen that too. That he is okay and able to jump back into the fold. They left kind of a nice and obvious opening at the end for that to be the case, right? So we will get a chance to see it. But honestly, I thought tonight's SmackDown was pretty good considering how much it got re-engineered, it sounds like.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I mean, it was just the main event segment that I think really had anything. But you had a slapper of IYO and Asuka. 20 minutes!
20 minutes for a women's title match.
Like, I look at this and I go, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory. This is the maximum chance for me to be interested in Austin Theory right here. Like, they have something together that I don't think that Austin Theory would have had separate. And I'm old enough to remember when people defended his booking of the Money in the Bank cash in. Like, that wasn't that long ago.
I'm going to cash in on a lower title during an open challenge. Makes no sense. No matter who you throw out there.
Evidence that Mia Yim is an absolute coward and didn't help AJ. So, yeah.
We've known that for a long time, though, right? I mean, she's acted that way with you before. I believe even given you the bird when she saw you live in person. But that is good-ish news, assuming that LA Knight is able to heal up quickly. But there's a lot that people, I think, want to talk about this week, especially, though you've already kind of beaten some of this to death doing streams on Fightful Select and having already done a stream as far as the releases go. But we did get the news about Matt Riddle earlier. So Any more on that?
Yeah, I've got an awful lot of thoughts on that.
Will they be on
I mean, I think
FightfulSelect.com where people can subscribe?
No. We already did that. So for those of you who aren't familiar, I'll never break the news of a firing or a release like behind the paywall. I will give you subsequent details, and there are a lot of details about everybody over there. So please do go ahead and subscribe. $5, yada yada. I think most people who watch this know I used to do a show with Matt Riddle years ago. We have not been in contact for years, but he was a person who very clearly we knew he was going to get signed. Like it was obvious he was going to get signed. Once the stigma of the weed was over, he was going to get signed, and he did get signed. And unfortunately, he got in his own way over and over and over again. Now, there are some things which I'm not willing or ready to say, well, yeah, he definitely got in his way on this one. But even if it wasn't one thing, it was any number of other things. Sure. And I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 other things. Like, and at that point, you can't keep giving that guy a chance. Now, hopefully, outside the auspices of WWE, he can sort of get that together. But I don't know if less supervision and less structure is something that is necessarily a good thing. Yeah, I don't think he should have been fired from UFC for weed, but you know what? Their rules are their rules.
It's the devil's lettuce, Sean. Okay?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the wacky.
In 2023, he would not have been fired for that, but it wasn't 2023. I would imagine that Matt Riddle is going to get like offers. I think he'll get MMA offers. Like I think PFL will probably be like, hey, you've been on WWE TV for a while. Let's offer you a lot of money to come over here and fight. And maybe he'll still do it. He still trains. I know that he was bummed out by the news. I had heard that. I heard he was very sad about the news because I can't say it's his lifelong dream. It was quite literally his 9 years ago dream, because I literally did the interview with him where the light bulb went off and he goes, I think I'm going to wrestle, because I did crossover coverage and I was interviewing him for his last MMA fight. And I go, did you ever think about being a pro wrestler? And he's like, no, but I think I might. So, I mean, this wasn't something that like necessarily was like a lifelong dream. He always liked it and stuff. But also once he got there, it's almost like he thought he was invincible. And as we've seen, CM Punk ain't invincible. I'm sorry, you're also not invincible.
Matt Riddle ain't invincible. Yeah.
Matt Riddle ain't invincible. Incredibly talented. Just a massively talented and skilled individual that unfortunately has a lot of issues completely separate of that. And it's unfortunate because it's just unfortunate, not unfortunate because it's unfortunate in general. Hate to see it, but the man needs some structure completely separate than that. I hope he gets it.
And he was always willing to go with the punches too, man. Like he did anything and everything they offered him. You've seen what he was doing on television. So
I don't know if this story is true, and I can't remember if I've ever told it on the air before. But there's a rumor about how Riddle got called up. And if it's true, it's one of the better stories that I've ever heard.
Oh.
So there were rumors that when Riddle was at that Royal Rumble, that Brock and he had words, right? Like there were rumors that Brock was like, don't talk about me. And I had talked to people around the situation that were like, yep, that happened. But also people thought that Paul Heyman was kind of egging Brock on, because, and the theory of those that I spoke to were like, Paul Heyman knows that he can make money if Brock and Riddle hate each other. He knows. He's smart. And
what a carny.
Exactly. And
I mean that with love.
Of course, Goldberg has issues with him and all that stuff, or did have issues with him. But, you know, Riddle doesn't back down from anybody because Riddle believes that he can hang with anybody.
Right.
And the rumor, again, I want to say this is completely reckless speculation. The rumor was that maybe a couple weeks later, Vince McMahon called a meeting with Matt Riddle and said, some pretty big guys have some heat with you. That seems to be a problem. And again, allegedly, what Riddle was like was, doesn't seem like a problem to me. Why? You're not afraid of pissing those guys off? No, what the fuck are they going to do to me? They going to beat me up? Let them. And he's like, Vince supposedly a little baffled is like, oh, what's going on here? Riddle allegedly said the thing that you say to Vince, I thought you wanted to make money. Ooh. And the word was, after that, Vince hastily was like, finish up your affairs in NXT, sir. And that's why, if you go back and watch NXT in that era, the rumored meeting affected plans for Indus Sher and Stokely Hathaway, Pete Dunne, Timothy Thatcher, everybody. You just saw that tag team division quickly be like, whoa, what's going on here? Now, that's like a long-standing rumored story that I've heard, and I don't usually just spout those off on the air, but I don't give a fuck about Vince McMahon, so I don't care. So I'm going to work and find out if this story is true and how it happened. I mean, maybe it's a fable. Maybe it's a fairy tale, but I thought it was a pretty interesting story. And again, I thought that was probably also the right way to approach a meeting with Vince McMahon. But Riddle, where he gets booked is going to be interesting. I don't think AEW is going to sign him, especially right now. I think they kind of learned
they have backstage issues at AEW before.
Well, I don't think Riddle would cause backstage issues. I'd never really heard of backstage issues besides the Goldberg thing, which we saw on video. And to Riddle's credit, that wasn't his fault. He had talked some trash on the internet. Well,
there's Goldberg some great wrestlers that have issues with with Goldberg. Look at Bret Hart, for God's sake.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Sit here and act like a bunch of people haven't talked shit to
Billy Goldberg
about Goldberg? Yeah, is he gonna beat up everybody? Come on now. But yeah, Riddle ain't working. Rock hard Joel Wood. By the way, guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. I'm here for a few minutes. Joel Wood says, I know there were some questionable people on the roster, but the releases of guys like Riddle and Quincy, is that a sign Endeavor's WWE will be less relaxed on an outside issues? No, I mean, maybe a little bit, but also a lot of these releases that we saw were like people who were notoriously not problematic. Mustafa Ali, not problematic. Dolph Ziggler, not problematic. Any number of these people, not problematic. And also, I'm still waiting to find out more on Riddle because that came today. I found out at about 5 p.m. and tried to get WWE to confirm. But also that one screams to me, just a hunch, it might be completely separate. Like they may have found something related to the Port Authority deal that maybe that's what instigated that. I don't know for sure, but it would seem a little bit weird to just outright fire somebody with a sexual assault claim on somebody else without knowing that for sure didn't happen that way.
And this happened on a different day, right? It's the same week, but this was not like a part of the rest of the releases. So it feels like maybe it was kind of in tandem with, but separate from the overall picture of budget cuts there.
And outright, I was told by WWE last night, like, no, the cuts aren't going to continue until tomorrow. So that's why I am inclined to believe that maybe this was just completely separate of that. Yeah. And Riddle is also a guy, when you saw that tweet earlier, or I think it wasn't a tweet, it was an aggregated tweet of what Dave put out today, where it is going to be like return on investment plus pay plus all that stuff. Riddle got him a return on their investment, like regardless of what any of his detractors want to say. Like people at the venues, he got cheered, he sold merch, he did all those things.
That Arcade Bro gimmick, that Arcade Bro gimmick was super over. I mean, Jesus.
But you do have to question the value of what it took to develop CGI birds. That was probably pretty expensive. So
or bunnies.
And somebody is in here saying, "Wait, more cuts on Saturday." No, there ain't nothing that I ever said that implied that. Don't go and rile people up like that. Will
I
Chisholm
think when
says
you said more cuts tomorrow, but that was not in reference to.
well, that's what I said. I
today.
said last night I asked them that. But
Yeah. So but I think that's what the misinterpretation
Can
was.
I
There's
just
nothing
give a
else.
shout
I mean,
out
even-
to this
Go ahead.
platform now not covering our faces when you're at the bottom here like a turd?
yeah,
Look at that.
I like that.
It
I like
shows
that.
up.
Yeah, we're trying to lean more into these like nifty little these nifty little backgrounds. By the way, guys,
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a silver play.
Congratulations.
We got a pink play button. That's how
well, just how the hell do I switch it? How the hell do I do it? I'm like Shawn Michaels using a computer right now.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just gonna block everybody. Will Chisholm says it felt like Randy Orton was keeping Matt straight. It helped. It certainly helped. It certainly helped.
Yeah.
Jonathan Corona said, "Who's seen his partner then for Fastlane?" Just curious. It was planned to be LA Knight. I think it still is. It's 2 weeks away. They're gonna expect him back by then.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. 2 weeks, Jesus. Unless he has long COVID, which is. But
Patrick says it's 2023 and I got THC lemonade. Times be changing. Yep, they do.
God bless.
I smoke weed in like before I go to sleep to help me go sleepy time, and I ain't gonna worry about the cops busting that down my door. So
Or
yeah.
when we do 4-hour streams denying rumors on occasion. But I guess
That would age
was a
well,
one-time
right?
thing. That was a one-time thing.
I tried to
guys-
tell everybody. So that night I was like, listen, you sons of bitches, I've got the night off, and I'm not gonna have people dropping in my DM saying, what's he vague tweeting about? I was like, I'm just gonna tell everybody what it is. This guy is assuming that Saudi's buying WWE, and they ain't.
And we sat there for 2 hours saying that over and over and over again, basically.
And it was one of the most lucrative nights of Fightful history.
I don't think that's been debunked yet, Sean.
Everybody was just bored, Alex. Everybody was bored. On
God,
that
it
night.
was lucrative because I
That was a
definitely
big
roped
night.
you into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you were like, yeah,
I was
maybe
like,
you should come
Sean
on.
will show up, maybe not. Watch our NXT review anyway.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Tuesdays are always a night that I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go out, yada, yada. And I'm just so exhausted from whatever I've covered Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That I'm like, no, I just want to be home. I just want to sit at home in my 3XL Iron Fist gym tee.
Damn
Like,
right.
that's all I want to do. But,
No, we had
Yeah,
that,
damn.
and then we had Jay Briscoe the following Tuesday. I think that was. Those were
I was
tough ones back to back.
I was walking into Rupp when that happened. I think. I can't remember what show I was at. I feel like I was going to a concert or something, and I found out about
Ugh.
Jay, unfortunately.
Oh.
But man, it's a very, very sucky week to be covering pro wrestling because of that. Like last week, I was so excited to be covering wrestling because of the Jade Cargill thing and The Rock, and then this week happened.
Well,
Trey,
and kind of in that same vein, Sean, you said there's contracts that are just up. There were a couple things on Fightful Select. I'll let you break your own paywall. I'm not in the business
Sure.
of doing that to us, but there's ones that are just coming up with this contract cycle, right? We're looking into 2024, and people's contracts of some pretty big names are also due up. So it's funny. I feel like when The Rock came back, so many people were like, oh, the momentum has swung all the way WWE's way. And now there's some free agents that might be interested for AEW, including GYV, whose contracts are just up. They're a fantastic tag team that can do very well in
They're
other
not up
places.
yet.
Oh,
they're
well,
not up yet.
they're not up yet. But soon.
FightfulSelect.com this weekend.
Soon.
We'll maybe give you some details. But yeah, Fightful Select alone has reported Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, Sheamus within 2024. FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. Please go subscribe. I did a Q&A show today. We revealed that Ziggler and Ali's contracts were going to be up in the summer. We're going to have even more on that, including a name that I've heard that AEW already has interest in. But there are a lot of people in WWE that just thought, well, they're going to let a contract expire like AEW. And that didn't end up happening. That did not end up happening. And also the method in which WWE was disseminating these releases, they don't post them on .com anymore. They wait until me or Mike find out, and then they, if we're lucky, they confirm. And they hadn't been since Sasha and Naomi. I hadn't got a confirmation since then, but they hadn't released people either.
Right.
They had let people go of their own volition. I didn't hear a peep about Roddy Strong. I got we're not going to confirm it, but you can pretty much guess based on what kind of website Lacey Evans is on right now that she ain't here type of thing. To this day, I never got a confirmation from WWE on Sasha and Naomi.
Sure,
Sasha's been in New Japan for a year. They haven't confirmed it yet.
Well, and even with, there were rumors about Elias, but then you had confirmed that it was a release and not a contract expiring. So it does seem like there's a little bit of cloudiness that you have to work through around those. Any other super chats and humper chats you guys want to get in? Sean's here for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to dive into a Smackdown.
I'm going to dive into this monster humper chat from Trey Cash. He says, I don't understand why WWE doesn't do tape segments for Roman. Backstage or off-site location, so he isn't expected to come out, but it would help the Bloodline story out a lot more and make it feel like he's not gone for months. The way that probably Road Dogg would rationalize it is, that makes him feel more special. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about special. I care about the viewership numbers of our post show and Roman doing stuff.
That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
Kate, I was on the train in 2020 where I was like, if Cena's there, like, film him squashing Heath Slater in 2 minutes and throw it on SmackDown or something. Yeah. Like, I remember a few years ago, John Cena was there at SmackDown working dark matches, and he wasn't on TV. Like, not even just like, hey, here I am. Nothing. He would come out after. At least now they're putting him on TV. They learn from their mistakes. No, show these people that are tuning in on Fox that they should be watching. But now it's going to be USA Network next year.
Right.
It's a big day, big week in wrestling, unfortunately, for like a lot of bad things. But they try to put that blanket over it with the merger and the USA Network deal, and it's just it's corporate enterprise 101.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is refreshing that right now there's so many alternatives too. Like,
yes,
it feels a lot better. It's never great, but like the fact that AEW is out there, Impact's there, New Japan's
Impact looks
strong
amazing
moves. Like, it's good that these people have a different place to land. It's a different landscape than it was.
OVW.
OVW is where everyone's going.
Listen, I mean, I'll tell you guys this now. I speak with Matt Jones here and there. He's a Kentucky guy. I straight up told him, I was like, pay for Shelton or Dolph Ziggler to be on your show. They were from OVW.
Man.
Pay for them to come work there and show a lot of people the heights you can reach if you do the right thing. Any news on Gallows' injury? I'll ask.
I saw some other questions there, guys. Send in a super chat or a humper chat if you have a specific question that you want read on air, and we will get it answered for you. But Sean's gonna boogie out of here soon-ish.
Why are you trying to push me?
She's kicking you out. That's crazy.
Because you give us a time limit. All right, we have a time limit draw that we have to hit, and you're taking all that time.
Listen, you ain't got a time limit. You got a billable time limit. That's it. Will Chisholm says, I was watching y'all that night. My wife was freaking out. I was like, CNN didn't say nothing. And plus, Fightful is the plug. Listen, our info is good. FightfulSelect.com. I would sincerely appreciate it. I know this is a world of Reddit and engagement accounts and all that stuff. FightfulSelect.com is where you can go to get the news delivered directly to you. You can ask me questions about these stories. You have access to Fightful almost unfettered there. You can pretty much just ask us whatever the hell you want over there. And again, you don't have to worry about the news being disseminated in an irresponsible way. But let's see. We got Tom Brady saying, what chance would you give Orton or Punk being at Survivor Series?
The same percentage as you unretiring to be the Jets' new
quarterback,
bastard. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
So 25% then. 25% for CM Punk. I'll put it at 65 for Randy Orton. Barring some setback, because listen, it's a serious injury. It's a serious injury. Kylie says, I'm watching the 2-hour. I hope you guys are well. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a member. I've been putting up behind the scenes footage on our YouTube membership. I've been putting up some coexisting with Rob and Maggie stuff. I think I might dip into the Sour Graps archives as well.
We got
and make some of those members
weird
only.
shit back there, man. So
I know.
We always thank Ian Riccaboni. It's not really Ian Riccaboni, but saying I never regretted my recurring membership.
Nah, we found out he's on that Voices of Wrestling Discord. That's what we found out.
We sure did.
Man, wild. I love Ian Riccaboni. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Sincerely. Check out Grapsody on Saturday as well. Oh, DNC.
Oh, DNC.
We love DNC.
I hope you guys are okay.
Hope you guys
Jinx, pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Whoa.
We'll do
check your reflection. Oh,
that's getting aggregated.
That's absolutely. What are they gonna do? Clip it. Who has that one Sean Ross Sapp video? Hope you guys are okay. What was the possible reason Fox didn't outbid USA or match them with added perks? I remember reading ad revenue went down.
Okay, let's see. Fox didn't outbid. I mean, there's an awful lot of stuff related to that. There were some frayed relationship stuff that COVID didn't help anybody. COVID made everybody feel like they were sold a bill of goods, but now they're doing good numbers. They're doing really good numbers. But there was some stuff that is especially related to the MLW lawsuit that ended up happening. Some fudgery that occurred there that definitely did not help. Some fudgery.
That's a big
of all
word.
things. Tubi hurt the WWE and Fox relationship. MLW and Tubi hurt it.
My God.
Unreal, man. Unfreaking real. Guys, thank you all so much for having me on. I like popping up on Fridays here and there. I've been doing a lot more late night streams over on Fightful Select too. So just go ahead and pay the $5 so I can shut the fuck up about this. Just do it.
Pay the $5. Sean, sincerely, these weeks suck, and you always handle them with a lot of integrity. And I appreciated it from the consumer side, and I appreciate working for someone who doesn't treat this casually or.
If it wasn't for my big bag of jerky and my green tea, I don't think I could do it.
And always watch out for the shoe.
That's watch for the shoe.
I don't have any up here. Fuck.
Well, see, Tony Storm tried to warn him, but he's going to have shoes flying in there. Well, let's dive into SmackDown, guys. If you want to talk some SmackDown, feel free to get in your super chats and your humper chats as well. We're going to get set up back to our regular layout and our regularly scheduled program. Sean mentioned it. Obviously, that was a lot of Fightful Select plug-in, but we do appreciate it. Not only do you get all of the breaking news over there, but you get continuation podcasts from the main channel, and you get bonus content. Me and Alex Pulowski doing pay-per-view post shows over there as well. So just get to the source, baby. Get your details there. It's how we get paid, realistically. It goes to support us and our staff of 40 people. Y'all find out the details anyway because people aggregate us. But we do appreciate the direct support. It's what makes this little engine go. We are, Sean always says, like the PBS of this. So let's dive into SmackDown. I thought tonight was, for the most part, a refreshing episode, at least for the in-ring side. We did not have nearly as much chatting, and we got some matches with some real time behind them. I don't love what we saw with the Hurt Business 2.0 tonight, but I do love what we saw in a lot of the in-ring. Alex, what were your overall thoughts on SmackDown before we dive in?
You know, the girls killed it. And we'll get into that later, but overall the show did not feel slowly paced.
A lot of in-ring tends to help that, I feel like.
yeah. Whatever the case happened, whatever was going on, today felt like a good show, and it showed on TV. And you know, we'll see where they go. They got to put on good shows because Friday nights are actually, you know, NCAA is actually putting some pretty good games out there. So, you know, they got to step it up now. Unfortunately, they're fighting freaking college games as well.
Yeah, that's the sports schedule always becomes an interesting little thing with all of this. But Tom LaValle saying Alex watching Rampage, Kate already saw. I did get to see this. I went to Grand Slam and I had a phenomenal time. What a special show it was. And the 2-hour Rampage, I will say live, if they don't have 2 hours to build to, it would be really nice to see 1 hour Rampage's return, because it is exhausting to be there till midnight. But what a special experience. There is one big thing that happens on Rampage, and the rest of it is a decent episode. No complaints about it, but there's kind of one thing that's like a whoa moment. So yeah, check in on that if you are an AEW fan. But we are going to dive into what we got tonight. You're right about that college schedule, though, affecting things. But to me, I feel like if you give matches 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you end up in a lot better situation than when we get so much talking. But we do start with a bit of a talking segment here. We get this John Cena promo off the top. Now, Sean clarified at the beginning of the show, if you're joining late, what the deal was here. Originally, LA Knight was supposed to appear on tonight's show. He was supposed to be a pretty central part of what got built out, especially in that contract segment. But he did test positive for COVID. That was confirmed by WWE to Sean, so we are allowed to put that out there publicly. We hope that he heals up with no complications and is back in action, talking to us as soon as he can. Yeah. So our best goes out to him. But we got Cena opening the show saying another sold out Friday Smackdown. I love when he does stuff like this. This is just like such a John Cena wheelhouse. Feels like a giant commercial a little bit, but he really, there's times where it feels really cheesy, but because he's not around every week anymore, it feels kind of refreshing to have someone that's so in command of this aspect of the business. Just immediately being like, another sold out crowd. Just smart off the top to be like, look how hot our product is, especially on a week like tonight. I'm so sorry. If I had like jolts during this broadcast, I've been having back spasms all day. This is not going to be my best.
It's okay.
Apologies, but I like what Cena did here. He said, since I've been back, I've been a host, I've been a referee, I've been a backstage correspondent. He gets met with the what treatment.
What?
With the what chance.
It's 2026 and we're still doing it.
Oh my God, what are we doing here? But he gets out of the what chance because he's a smarty pants. All right. He knows how to get out of those Steve Austin leftover chants. But he said he didn't come back to be a host, referee, or backstage correspondent. He came back because he wanted to compete, and that's why he wants to have a match tonight.
Word.
And he goes on to say that he's excited and angry. He's got a lot of feelings. He's excited to be here, but he's angry at the bloodline. He wants to fight Solo and Jimmy himself, but instead he's found a tag partner, and that tag partner is phenomenal. If you can't have LA Knight in this segment and you're plugging someone into something 10 minutes before the show goes live. So to clarify too, Sean said he tested positive like right before the show, like right before it. I think AJ Styles is a pretty damn good call. Like that is the perfect guy to kind of plug into that situation. And Styles, who comes out with hair that I swear to God looks like a wig, but was not. Bloodline, if you want some, come get some. Jimmy's music hits, and he and Sokolo.
That's her back spasms, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. I'm keeping Sokolo though. That's funny. I don't need to say Solo Sikoa.
Can we make shirts that just say that now?
Sokolo.
We're
gonna be millionaires. I tell you. They come to the ring and hop the apron. Jimmy's jaw jockeying a bit. They smile and hop back out. Solo follows suit, and up the ramp they go. And at this point in the night, I was like, if this match is actually going to happen, why wouldn't you announce it ahead of time? That would be a great marketing move to get people into the building. Obviously, things got switched around here. But we then get Adam Pearce saying to Cena, or we see him talking to Cena and Styles. Pearce said that he was going to talk to Paul Heyman and see if they could set up the match for later. So that's all in your opener here before we dive into the action, especially knowing what they were up against. Like, you got John Cena, you got AJ Styles. If there's anybody that can cover for this situation, it's those guys. We're setting up stuff for Fastlane. We're setting up stuff down the line for Saudi Arabia. Looks like we're headed toward a tag match. That part makes sense. But I don't even know what to talk about with this Jimmy stuff because I feel like he's clearly like trying to get back into the bloodline or be a fake Roman, but he was just saying that he didn't want his brother to turn into Roman. I don't feel like this Jimmy stuff makes any sense at all. It's kind of a bummer for me. So what did I call him? Sokola?
Sokola. Sokola. That reminds me of the Ricola commercials. I don't know why. Sorry.
Yeah, Sokola. You got a little cough? You got a little cough?
Yeah, I got a little cough.
But it
millionaires.
That's right. It does feel to me like the Jimmy stuff is just gotten stuck in the mud. It's helped by programs like this, but at the same time, I don't get it. Like, he turned on Roman first. He turned on his brother. His reasoning for turning on his brother was so that he wasn't going to turn into Roman, and now he's running around being a mini Roman, unless that was all supposed to be a part of some manipulative scheme, but it doesn't really come across that way. Like, they didn't do a good enough job connecting those dots, in my opinion. I think the match will be great, assuming LA Knight is able to recover and enter the picture. Quite frankly, if AJ Styles still has to cover for him, I'm still interested in that because I love seeing AJ Styles in something that feels important after being mired in a very weird karrion cross program for a long time. But what did you think of all of this opening stuff?
That opening segment took forever. I mean, it was just obviously they were trying to, with the whole thing with LA Knight being out, they did a pretty good job of putting that story together. They did a pretty good job of extending it, you know, so that you have to wait till the end of the show to know the outcome. So yeah, I was with it. You know, it's crazy that we see again, and I think I said this last week, just having John Cena being a part of everything again
consistently too. It's not like showing up once every 6 weeks or whatever.
When he does these long terms of being on television, he does, and I'm not just saying this because the man just followed me this morning on Twitter that I love him, John. But
I miss John.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know, man. I'm hoping that this, and I will get to it at the end of the show, but I'm hoping, you know, something big comes. Obviously, if it's LA Knight, that's a great rub. But you know, if LA Knight can't come, the man could be in the ring with anyone. I love him. Like, it could be Randy if Randy's healthy, you know. But yeah,
it could. They do have a lot of fallback options, and it's going to be interesting to see what they end up getting to between Fastlane and Saudi Arabia. Like, I think that programming will probably determine a lot. I love the idea of having LA Knight be on the same side as John Cena because for whatever reason, he doesn't get to go near any titles right now. John Cena being there is the next best lateral move. But guys, get in your super chats and your humper chats if there's anything that you would like to talk about, like Orion Ben, who says Kate ordered her Bad Bees for the Mad King shirt. So the Wrestling Wind Down, who we love and support, they have their, I can say the B word, we're more than 5 minutes into the show. They have a Bad Bitches for Daniel Garcia shirt. And after Eddie won, they have a Bad Bitches for the Mad King shirt. I will likely be getting one. I have to get my Athena Minions shirt. And I also have to stop ordering so much wrestling merch, guys. I have so much. I have so much. And then I just found this cool vegan brand called Don't Eat the Homies. And I had to buy one of their sweatshirts. I gotta stop. I did a little wardrobe refresh. I gotta cap it now. Get out of control. So we will definitely be ordering Eddie Kingston merch. Here's my issue. I have 2 Eddie Kingston shirts. I don't even have a Redeem These Nuts shirt. And that just feels like a mistake. But I do have an LEC shirt, which you can get at Pro Wrestling Tees. An Allie Albright shirt. She just released a new design, but I have her OG one because we're just like OGs like that. We're besties. So we're besties.
I feel like I'm not part of this group.
Well,
yeah, whatever.
You can be by going to ProWrestlingTees.com and buying a shirt.
Let's go. I could just show up there and say, "Hey, I need this ASAP."
Yeah, get it to me. I need an Allie Albright shirt
now.
But we do get into our first match of the night, which I thought was match-wise, I thought was good. Booking wise, made no sense to me at all. We get the LWO, Rey Mysterio, and Santos Escobar, who looked fantastic in this, defeating Montez Ford, who I thought he wasn't in the match enough for my liking, but the work he did I thought was really interesting and showing how differently he works as a heel than a face. And Angelo Dawkins, of course. The finish here is Dawkins lifting Mysterio up for a powerbomb, but Mysterio rolling Dawkins back up for the win. Here's what I don't like. After the match, Lashley left ringside without the Profits. Yeah. I do not want these guys breaking up already. I think they're worried that they're not going to work as heels because they're so over. But this was just a really, really good match. So in-ring wise, there was kind of like a weird moment that happened, but they recovered from it really well with Ford kicking Escobar and hitting a running frog splash. Ford also going to the top of Escobar, getting him off with a Frankensteiner was just really, really good stuff from the top rope. But after this, we see the Street Profits shown backstage. Bobby Lashley yelling at Dawkins and saying he wants all of his stuff back like an angry ex-boyfriend. The watches, the suits. Here's what I'm optimistic about. If he wants all that back from them, Alex, maybe it's going to finally happen.
Here we go.
All that stuff back from him, and he's going to send it to me because, Alex, I've been asking for this. I've been asking for a suit. I didn't even think about watches. I didn't think about any of that. I just wanted one little suit. But if he's taking it all back from Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, there's no excuse not to send me a suit because I will pay shipping and handling. I will pay the tailor. I will pay in installments if he wants a payment plan. I just want...
He said I'll pay in 4 payments.
4 payments of $39.99.
Apple Pay later.
Yeah, exactly. I want my suit. I will also take my watches. I will take hand-me-downs. If you're like, I can't handle the bad energy that came with these losses from the Street Profits.
Yeah.
And I need it cleansed and reinvigorated. Like, I will take those hand-me-downs. So I'm just saying, good stuff there. But the story of this being Dawkins hesitating to kind of capitalize on Lashley's interference in this match as well. Seems like there's some tension with the Street Profits. I don't want them to do that. I am also thinking in real terms, like they just released Shelton, which I don't like, but they did not release Cedric Alexander, which intrigues me a little bit. Maybe he's walking back into the picture here. Get him on screen. He's a ridiculously skilled wrestler. Get him back on here. But I don't like this. This just came together and I was just buying into it. And now are we splitting it up already? Loved the in-ring. Don't really love the booking here. And also, Rey and Escobar being the ones to not have tension when there's a U.S. title match coming up doesn't really make any sense to me, but I'm also a little bit okay with that because I can handle that.
But they have respect for each other, that's the respect factor. We're family. We got to beat the crap out of each other in a week, and we'll leave that to that moment, But you're right about the Street Profit drama. I don't understand it, and it could very well be a point break where Bobby has to teach him a lesson to turn them fully heel, because they're not really, like, people are still going crazy, like, give me the red cups and spray me with alcohol. Like, there's still that disconnect. So maybe, I don't know, maybe something big is coming down the line. Maybe this was a way to take away the suits, send them over to you, Kate, and then pretty much say we're starting anew, and I need to slap you boys around, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Because if we're having the constant, loving of the Street Profits and you don't see that turn happening quick enough, then you got to accelerate it somehow.
It's true.
And I want them to be heels. I think Bobby as a heel is nasty. He's a nasty man.
Bobby, they should just let be like the likable heel. Like, I can think he's really cool and still boo him. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's his wheelhouse. He's so great, man. I really love Bobby Lashley, and I'm glad he's been a priority more so in recent years than years past. But we move.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
but heel Lashley in Impact was insane. So I would love to see that. That come back to life.
Like, he just at every aspect of it, because when he seems genuinely very likable. So when he's face, like, I have no problem doing that. But he just knows how to be one of those heel who, like, I personally, this is just for me, like, I like heels whose perspective I can identify. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like when I can understand their vantage point instead of them just being like, I'm so mad and angry and evil.
I like that.
Will chiming in saying that I think the story is Bobby wants them to be more like Bobby. I don't think breaking them up. I really hope not, but that makes sense because we've still seen some of those Street Profit tendencies, right? Of them being like sillier and so charismatic, and we've seen them getting gradually more violent. So maybe that's the wake up call that they need. Maybe
by all means, bring over the violence. I'm tired, and you. This is so bad. But this has also been said before. You know, it's always the happy-go-lucky, smiling dudes. You know that Vince McMahon always had, and you know where I'm going with this. It was with the New Day when they were doing the whole opera, whatever they were doing, preacher stuff, and so on and so on. So for to break that stigma finally, and have a really cool group, kind of go back to like the old school WWE, WWF days, where a group and they were badasses and would beat your ass just happened. I think it'd be great, like you just said, for this to happen with the Street Profits. I could be 100% wrong, and then next week they're back to the Street Profits, and Bobby's gone with someone else.
It's possible. It's possible, but I really did like. I feel like we saw a lot of different stuff from Montez Ford, so that might be the story. Like he's getting gradually more violent and vicious in the ring instead of leaning into the things that we know he can do. So I think
chills,
that's very
Kate.
cool.
I like violence.
Good. Well, speaking of giving you chills, the Spooky Scottish Witches cursed the tag titles. This was so fun. I love that we're doing this heading into spooky season. We've been calling for it for spooky season. One LT photo say, I know Alex is happy about
oh
the
my
spooky
God.
Scotland. I'm really happy too. I know like we joke around about like the thirst factor, but like
no, they're awesome.
They're such a good tag team, and like for someone that covers NXT, the way that they got to them made so little sense that to see them have like been able to settle in and work so well together, like the complaints were never with them or in the ring. It was just very weird creative. I was so excited when they got called up. They got pulled off TV basically immediately. To see them come back and acknowledge like the curse of the tag titles. I just also thought that was cute.
That.
Like I like winks and nods to that kind of stuff a lot. I think that's super fun. So I'm happy about it. Isla Dawn is great, and Kaylee Ray, Alba Fire now, has always been fantastic. A long reigning champion in NXT UK. She was a standout as a solo competitor in NXT as well. So if you are not familiar, you're going to get to see what they can do, I think, sooner than later. So good stuff there. And then we move along to Austin Theory getting scolded by Adam Pearce, which is weird. The Brawling Brutes show up, and I was just like, he's not a third grader. Like Adam.
I mean,
Adam Pearce, God bless
he's a young
him.
kid.
He's not that young. He's not a 19,
24,
like
25.
They wanted us to believe Dominic is.
Well,
but he, and Adam Pearce, it cracks me up because I feel like he's always extremely stressed doing his job. Like he's always at like an 11 of like, what now? The bloodline. What now?
He's always stressed. His tweets sound stressed. His threads sound stressed. Everything he does, I read it with a level of stress
just like,
alongside.
What? I get it. I've had one of those days today, so I'm with you, Adam Pearce. But some good stuff coming from this. We have the Brawling Brutes showing back up with Ridge Holland saying Theory was embarrassed by The Rock, which feels true. Grayson Waller shows up, and Butch is there as well, challenging Theory and Waller, and Pierce makes the match official for later. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we get to talk about what was a very, very refreshing thing on SmackDown, in my opinion. We get IYO SKY. That's just great already. In a solos match, defending her title, 2 good things, against Asuka, 3 good things, for almost 20 minutes in this match, 4 good things, and holy hell, the match kicked ass. This was so awesome to see. I absolutely adored it. they just beat the living hell out of each other. Like, some of the strikes in here were so nasty. This wasn't pretty. It was never meant to be. They beat the hell out of each other. I would love for them to run it back without the outside interference, but even the interference was not as overpowering as it can be a lot of times, and it at least made sense. So at the end here, we have Asuka going for a second Asuka lock. IYO SKY is fading, but Bayley manages to put her leg up on the rope for the break. And of course, Charlotte walks out. And she comes out to get rid of Bayley, which is fair to equalize as a face. IYO SKY taking advantage of that, though, with a wild knee. And Sky following up with her incredible moonsault for the win. What I loved about this match was we know IYO SKY has an incredible moonsault. It's probably the best one in wrestling. We see it a lot. Everybody knows that. I was glad that we got to see so much more than that from her tonight. Like, we got to see Joshi wrestling tonight. Like, this was some hard-hitting, nasty work. People have wanted this match for years. I'm one of those people. This was perfect. They both have incredible German suplexes. Asuka has one of the best in wrestling. But I really liked Sky hit a gorgeous German suplex in here that Asuka countered with like this modified Kimura lock, it looked like. It was really, really cool. And Sky fought her way out of it and just lands a kick to Asuka's head. Like, very simple, hard-hitting, sometimes very technical wrestling here. And I loved to see it. I really hope that they run this back at the pay-per-view, hopefully with a stipulation, like, so that the outside interference is taken away and it feels more blow-off-ish. Like, I think that would be something that's really cool. But what a step in the right direction. We get a match that we've been asking for a really long time. It gets nearly 20 minutes on screen. It's between IYO and Asuka, and it just, man, when you give these women some breathing room, man, like, it's such a beautiful thing. This was just a great wrestling match, and just nice to see the title getting defended here, Alex. My gosh.
Yeah, just the fact that you're able to get this very unique match between these two women, who are freaking killers in the ring, by the way, says a lot to what they're trying to do. You know, it's been very hard on both sides of the coin, both AEW and WWE, when it comes to the women's wrestling. But when you take something like these two, you give them the time to tell you a story in the ring the way they did. I was so engaged. I was on every move that they were doing. And okay, I personally, because I'm just an old man, I just kind of knew, like, no one's going to take that belt off of her on a regular SmackDown. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yeah, it would be egregious if they did. Yeah.
Right. But just the fact that they made you believe that that could have happened with the way that they were beating the living crap out of each other. Yeah. Give me more.
It is always good to... Because you're right, it's very predictable. But I just, in cases where it's very predictable, because sometimes predictable is the right move, right? Yeah. Just a seed of doubt or a really great match goes a long way. We got A-Shock asking, like, how many stars in the side, and our own Luis Polito said, Septecker out of 5, homie. Septecker is the thing. We're making it a thing.
How many cans of gas do you give it?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, this was not... I mean, I guess no other match has cans of gasoline, so I would say 4.5 out of 5 cans of gasoline. Nice. That's what I would do. Yeah. Orion Ben saying Herstory Asuka learned the Kimura from Mio Io's sister. Oh, I love that. Oh gosh, sorry, struggling. Okay.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
We're making it through. You
got a bad back.
Look,
she's carrying this network on her back. People.
Thank you. That's exactly what it is. If they can survive those German suplexes, I can survive leftover back spasms. But some good stuff here, guys. I'll tell you about some other really good stuff that we have. Okay, and that is the best VPN in the business, supporting us on a regular basis. Okay, and when you have outside interference like you have with Charlotte and Bayley, okay, sometimes it helps to have a little bit of security. And there's no better security VPN-wise. than NordVPN.
I'm traveling a lot, and when you travel, you got to protect your data. You got to protect your privacy online. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows me to do that, allows me to browse safely and securely. When you go to an airport, when you go to an arena, a restaurant, a hotel, you're usually connecting to that unsecured Wi-Fi, which leaves you susceptible to having your data stolen, any number of things taken from your private connection or what should be your private connection. NordVPN.com/Fightful makes it a private connection with the fastest VPN in the world, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a ton of other features in addition to that peace of mind that you get when you can browse safely and securely. And I'm talking all your devices. Surface Pro, laptop, desktop, PC, smart TV, router, phone, whatever you're taking with you, NordVPN.com/Fightful will add extra layers of security to your digital life. You can get a password manager, a file encryption tool. Be safe, be smart. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Give me that VPN.
Hell yeah, the best one in the business.
Jazz hands.
You can do jazz hands for NordVPN. We're here for that. We're always here for that. Yes, please get NordVPN if you need a VPN service. Even if you don't, get one anyway with the cold Fightful, because it makes so much darn sense. You can save money on all those pay-per-views because we still got a ways to go until AEW is on Max, okay? They are charging you for full gear. We've got Wrestle Dream coming up. They're charging you. So you know what? You got to fight back. And you fight back with NordVPN. And with all the money you're saving with NordVPN, you can go over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe. There are more contextual details, as Sean said, on the releases. We never list names back there. Same thing with injuries. There's just some news that feels icky to paywall, and we don't do that. But there are additional details if you want them. If you want to get them accurately, you can go to FightfulSelect.com. Sean also has been doing a lot of bonus streams on Fightful Select as well. So you get the video version kind of straight from Sean's perspective and what he's heard rather than reading about it in written form, which is kind of just a more accessible and thorough version in my experience with those. And it's all, it's not just doom and gloom back there. There's also some fun contract news as well. News about what contracts are up in 2024 went up recently. The Jade Cargill news, QT Marshall, Prince Nana, a lot of really good news happening back there in addition. So much of that and more. And we'll also remind you, there's a 2-hour Rampage going on right now. There's usually like a brief recap at the beginning of the Collision show. I know people kind of tune in at different times here to see if we're covering it. We will kind of cover the bigger ones. We weren't going to do a 2-hour one because that would put this show at midnight starting Eastern. And I love you guys, but there's a line. Okay, we're not going to do that. I did that once, I think, with the Battle of the Belts, and even that was a little much. So that is not going to be the way we go about things. But there is one really big thing happening on Rampage. We'll talk about it at the end. Luis, if you want to get us details for that, that would be neat. But if not, no worries at all.
Are we also going to USA Network with this deal that they just did for Friday nights? We're taking you and I?
The US, yeah. So it's been real. We don't even know if we're going to be on Friday nights anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, true. Yeah, God forbid.
But good stuff. Definitely check out the Collision post show. They do a great job. That's Iridian Cresta Star, who I didn't get to meet, but she was also at Grand Slam, and the wonderful Rick Ochino. I'm sure they will be talking about the Ricky Starks and Danielson death match before they put Danielson back in his Zorb ball, as CSJ so humbly requested. But we've got some more chats that came in from you guys. IYO SKY and Asuka being a good and healthy thing. Wilkism saying that Michael Cole dropping IYO's sister, Asuka, and IYO's history, and name dropping all the Japanese companies. He was on one tonight, and I loved it. It is always refreshing when we see that. I
love the fact no one was in his ear.
Definitely seemed it. I don't know if that's going to be a nice change from the TK into the TKO era, but that was an immediate change when we saw the handoff from Vince to Triple H, and it makes a really, really big difference. So I agree. It's so much nicer when you have a context for that, because they had even gotten to the point where they weren't acknowledging what was going on in NXT, and I thought that was ridiculous. Like, that's under your own umbrella. And the rest of the wrestling world exists, so I'm glad that they let that happen. Luis calling that our September special. I love that Luis just gets into pun world with me. I appreciate that so much. But so this, I have to go back and seek out. This was a rough moment for me with my day, so I missed it, but I heard incredible things about this Pretty Deadly segment. Anthony Velasquez saying that Pretty Deadly segment was pretty damn funny. Elton has a shoulder injury and they're acting like he can't walk. Okay, so last week we saw him in a wheelchair, so I'm assuming this segment was a continuation of his shoulder injury being something that is handicapping his whole body. Is that what I'm to assume?
You okay?
Oh yeah, I was just throwing it over to you. I didn't get to see.
Oh,
it.
sorry. You kind of you went completely silent.
Know what I was doing,
and I'm like, wait, what? Is she okay?
I was looking for my neck brace.
Oh, okay. Please put it on.
In solidarity, but I think it's in the other room.
Oh my God, you should definitely go get a neck brace just for that.
I have one, but it's not here. I wore it on Tuesday. But what did you think of this segment? I'm looking forward to going back and watch it because they're hilarious.
Yeah. What did I tell you about these guys? I had no idea who the hell they were. I was like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden, I believe that I did an NXT show with on Fightful with Rob and the rest of the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Fightful Overbooked. And I was like, okay, let me, before I get on here, let me see what's happening. And I started watching some footage because I'm a professional. And holy crap, I really fell in love. And I tell you this every time when they got here to SmackDown, I said, man, do I really love Pretty Deadly. I don't know what it is. Their gimmick is over the top. And I'm one of those people that love like the over the topness of certain things. And the Shigway, yes. And theirs is exactly that. I would like to perhaps maybe one day cosplay as Pretty Deadly here on the show.
You should. They have the highest of fashion sense.
I know that a certain somebody that we both know that does cosplay offered to cosplay to make it for me. And I said I might be doing this.
There you go.
That'll be a lot of shoulder and a lot of clavicle that I'll be showing on here.
Well, no, it's almost the opposite, right? That's the only part that's covered. It's like a half.
Oh, that's right. Ways the half. Yeah. Well, I'll ask Sean if it's okay for me to show that much without blurring the screen.
Well, yeah, we'll get like the blurred sensors up for you. The chat wants it, so.
Oh God! Gotta give the people I'm gonna have if the I'll do it. Listen, there's not a single bone in my body that says be embarrassed. I don't have that gene. I was never born with it, so I'm down.
That's a whole bunch of fun, and they're a whole bunch of fun. I will definitely be going back and watching it, considering we got an Olivia Rodrigo quote and a shake weight. That's fun. But they were. I'm glad that they found the sweet spot that they're in, because in NXT they were kind of leaning into like weird stuff with sexuality that they don't generally walk the line of that tastefully. So they found a way to merge just like the flamboyant aspect with their characters without kind of like bringing that into it. And I'm very glad. They're absolutely hysterical. We're getting some good just injury work here. We've got Roddy Strong in his neck. We've got a shoulder injury that people can't walk with. Like, this is just a whole bunch of fun in pro wrestling. So,
but I also like the fact that they're letting them be them and letting them continue to do what they were, that whole shtick, and it's not being overly done to the point where it's comedic, like a lot of people has happened when they transfer over to the main roster. So I feel like I connect with them in a way where it's like, I know they're going to be funny and over the top, but I want to watch them because they're still badasses in the ring. I mean, they are physically incredible when they get in and actually have their matches. So,
agreed. That always helps. That's something that, like, I think when people didn't get it with Orange Cassidy at first, it's like, no, like, it's an apathy gimmick, but he knows what he's doing.
You're right.
There, so.
That's another thing. I can't say, goddamn, I love Orange Cassidy's gimmick, and then turn around and say, oh, this Pretty Deadly. It really. I just bought into who they were.
It's fun. It's just fun. But being a great wrestler on the other side of it is an important piece.
Yes, ma'am.
For sure. But We move along to Theory and Waller versus the Brawling Brutes. And I got to say, if your Brutes aren't brawling.
Oh, God.
Okay. If it's not fight night for you, if you're not putting up the fight that you need to, if your Butch ain't butching, if your Ridge ain't Hollandin', if you are not throwing the punches with the same force that you want to be.
If you're not beating your drum.
There it is. Bluechew is here to help.
If you're watching this, you have probably considered becoming a pro wrestler at some point. Well, let me tell you, I got your gimmick and I got your gimmick. Here's your gimmick name. Rock Hard Eric Shins. And your gimmick is Bluechew and the code Fightful. Same improved ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but you don't want those. You don't want those. You want Bluechew. It's chewable, gets into your system a lot faster. It's ready when you are or when you're not. Maybe you need that motivation. Maybe you need that step up in performance. Or maybe you just want a little bit of additional confidence. Take an online questionnaire with a physician, and when approved, it arrives straight to your door. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping, because that first shipment is free when you use the code Fightful. Mailman's not going to know what's up. The nosy Nellies around your neighborhood aren't going to know what's up. But let me tell you, that special someone's going to know what's up. Bluechew.com and the code Fightful.
Pro tip, go get yours today.
That's right. A pro tip indeed.
Using
go get
code
yours.
Fightful.
We get Theory and Waller. Just gonna keep rolling, defeating the Brawling Brutes. That pops me tremendously. This was a more fun match than it probably had any right to be. I'm not super in on Austin Theory and Grayson Waller because I feel like, well, it's good for Austin Theory to be aligned with someone else. I kind of am like, yeah, it's not good when you're aligned with like somebody doing what you do better than you this quickly. Like, that's not to me something that works, but I understand why people are latching onto it. Like, this is a better place for Austin Theory. They need to stop putting him out there with the Rock and Cena. He cannot hold his own. Having him alongside Grayson Waller is something that makes sense, but my concern is that maybe that like is pulling Grayson Waller back instead of launching Austin Theory forward a little bit. But they're obviously prioritized in the card based on what we see, right? So that's just like a personal preference. I can't argue that it makes a ton of wrestling sense. This is great. But they beat the Brawling Brutes here. I feel a little bit like they need to either break up the Brawling Brutes or get them some wins. The Brawling Brutes tend to lose a lot. Now in NXT, Butch, Pete Dunne, he's Pete Dunne when he comes down to NXT because he's doing such great work in NXT. They have the Heritage Cup Invitational that's going on right now. And he kind of, in what looked like a surprise upset to where we were sitting, won his block. We've been calling it the NXG one because it's a round robin tournament. And it's featuring a lot of really, really great wrestling. He and Tyler Bate had a fantastic match. They alluded to their history through this whole thing. So he's kind of having this NXT run. And I'm wondering if he's just going to stay there. I wonder if he wins the Heritage Cup. Like maybe this upset was so that he takes the whole thing. Possible he doesn't, but it's kind of like one or the other. We've seen a lot of people coming back down to NXT. If he stays in NXT, maybe we just kind of slowly dissolve this thing. It doesn't have to be some violent breakup, but it's been a lot of losses for the Brawling Brutes of late. But a good match here. Holland has the Boston Crab locked in, but Waller breaks it up with that rolling stunner. They got to get him a different finisher. It's so weird that he has to leave the ring to come back into the ring. But Theory follows that up with the A-Town down, and they walk out of there with the win. To me, I'm just a big Pete Dunne gal. Like, I'm a big Butch gal. I love getting him to see him show up more. Like, when he was in that weird Scrappy-Doo phase, he also wasn't wrestling. So it was like I was getting this very odd version of this guy, but I also didn't get to really see him in the ring doing stuff like this. This was only about a 10-minute match or so, but I feel like whenever I get to see him in his wheelhouse, I'm a happy gal. This made perfect wrestling sense to me. not a bad way to go. A lot of really good in-ring tonight, I gotta say. Makes me very, very happy. Your thoughts on this?
I liked it. I thought the Waller being put together with Theory makes sense to me. I don't know why. It just what do they call the down under?
I forget what it was.
Yeah, I know Michael Cole.
Down under or whatever.
Someone called it or whatever, and I was like,
I think
God.
Waller did on commentary. I thought it was really clever. The A-Town down under was a good one.
I think it works. I want to see a little bit more, see where it goes. There could also be two snakes in a bucket to see which one takes each other out first as well, because they're both a-holes. So we could see where that happens. I don't know where the Brawling Brutes go, especially with, if you go to Fightful Select, we talk a lot about contracts ending. I would like to know where, if Sheamus decides to leave, like, where does this go? What happens to the poor Brawling Brutes, because as of late they just seemed a little bit like out there, just being thrown into matches. So good for Dunn that he's going to go down to NXT and do his thing, but I don't know, kind of weird match to kind of speculate what's going to happen with these teams, but
Sure.
We'll see.
It's just NXT always adds an interesting wrinkle in it, right? Because
always, yeah.
All of a sudden, Becky Lynch is NXT Women's Champion, right? Like, things can kind of just flow in and out. And I think it's healthy for the NXT program, but it does, because I don't think Ridge Holland is like a solo wrestler on his own type guy. Like, I think he's suited for the role that he's in right now. So, good stuff with this. I'm going to give you guys a Rampage rundown. Thank you, Luis, for getting this over to us.
Take a deep breath. I want you to do it just like
Darby Allin and Sting with Nick Wayne defeat Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, Orange Cassidy. No, I won't do that because we actually want to read the results, but I could. I just am flexing. All right, Excalibur.
Ooh,
I'm gunning for your job.
wow.
I'm not gunning for your job.
You should wear a mask.
No way. I have no idea how they do that. I did it because you should, but during COVID, I wore my mask everywhere, and I thought about that all the time. I was like, how did luchadors wrestle with this? I am just trying to sit inside somewhere with just this part of it and couldn't handle it. I was like, how are these guys doing stuff off the top rope? It's crazy. It's nuts. But Darby Allin and Sting with Nick Wayne defeating Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander, and Hook defeating Anna Jay, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker with Jake Hager. I did get to see all this live. This was a fun one. It was a fun one, but the Callis family and Sammy Guevara talk their S about Y2J and attack him, but Omega makes the save. Callis family and the mystery guy versus the Golden Lovers and Jericho for Wrestle Dream. I gotta say, I think Callis bailing Guevara out of this storyline is a very, 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 very good call. I think that is the manager they need for that guy. Hopefully they set him on a track that works creatively for Sammy, because I feel like he's been really lost in the shuffle with some of this. Thought it was the perfect move. Callis gets some monster reactions live. That was very, very fun. Your ROH Tag Contenders match was won by the Righteous, defeating OGK. That is, for those of you who haven't been watching, Matt Taven, Purple Kenny Omega, and Mike Bennett. Best friends, and the Hardys were in there as well. And guess what? The OGK, they don't care about Trent's neck health. They only care about Roddy's. So I feel like it's a little hypocritical, but I'll take it. The AEW Trios title, you get the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defeating the Dark Order. And Julia Hart versus Sky Blue is currently underway. They had a standoff. I know what your main event is. You're going to want to watch it. It was really fun, and something big happens. So stay tuned for that. But back over
this
on
day.
SmackDown,
Just kidding.
No, it was not Edge.
Can you imagine
it was not Mercedes. Yeah, that was people. I heard people saying that, because Christian's on Rampage, and I was like, guys, it's taped. They're not gonna have someone debut on a taped segment.
I know, yo, Jesus.
And we also don't know if his contract is up, so I think it is, but we will see. But back in SmackDown world,
I'll text him later.
We have our contract signing segment now. This, I think, went a little bit awry because of the LA Knight stuff, but I will say, And every wrestling company has it. AEW certainly has it with like what Sean used to call gang wars of like, there's going to be a melee on a go home before pay-per-view. Like everybody kind of has their crutches. It does feel like there are a lot of backstage beatdowns, like a lot, and always from the bloodline, of course. But today I think you kind of had to, because you had to leave an opening for LA Knight to walk back in here. So knowing that makes a lot more sense. My notes are harsher on this before I knew what happened with LA Knight, but in real world contests, this makes a lot more sense. You have Adam Pearce just stealing Jeremy Lambert's gimmick, okay? He says, imagine thinking John Cena ain't the GOAT. And he says that about Bryan Danielson. And that's Jeremy's thing. And here comes Adam Pearce calling Cena the greatest wrestler in the world. Like, don't steal Jeremy's material, okay? AEW takes the photo that Jeremy puts up with every Danielson article of him looking all weird and creepy and makes a t-shirt out of it. They don't even send Jeremy a t-shirt. And now you got Adam Pearce out here stealing Jeremy's material. But we have what you would kind of expect here to happen, right? You have Jimmy Uso beating up AJ Styles, Cena running to the back. You get Solo Sikoa jumping off a bunch of traveling cases onto Styles, and the backstage crew just going absolutely nuts here. This was all to get to the eventual Usos signing the contract, but John Cena hasn't really yet, right? So, or he'll at least have a compromised partner in the process. So AJ Styles likely won't be here. This is where LA Knight can step in. It was a good move to make considering what they were really up against, but a suitable go home. We open the show and close the show with the same thing isn't always my favorite thing, especially when the opening goes that long. But when you have someone like John Cena, it makes a whole bunch of sense, Alex.
Sure. Yeah. Good book. I talked about this before, the book ending, starting with the beginning and the beginning with the end and all that good stuff. I think this one fit it because you need to find a way to get that story told. And if you had to wait, the hour and 10 minutes to whatever, hour and 45 minutes to get there, you might as well. And whatever. I think it was fine. I think the beatdown. I think the beatdown was inevitable. I wasn't it Sikola? Jumping from 20 feet high in the air to kill poor AJ and all that stuff. Like
the attempted murder.
The attempted murder of AJ Styles and all that stuff. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. They're trying different things. Fox tried to sabotage them by taking off the feed a couple times while they were on.
Yeah, that was
live.
So weird. We got a couple of blackouts. I saw that too, but I was able to see the social media clips of it or whatever go up. But we kind of had a couple of those.
Yeah, so kind of curious. It left me curious. Where are we going with this? The greatest of all time was laid out. Where are we going?
Yeah, I think this makes sense if they're gonna try and have LA Knight back in the next 2 weeks. So we will take it. This is not a super chat, but it's such an important question of A-Shock asking if I dig. And I do. Okay. I love the Righteous. If you guys aren't in on the Righteous winning in that Four Corners match, I'm telling you, give them a chance. They're really, really great. They've been an ROH standout talent for a long time. And they're just close your ears if you don't like breaking kayfabe, but Vince is just a really nice dude. He's such a sweetheart. So
McMahon?
No. Vincent from the Righteous. You dig?
I dig.
But that is our episode of Smackdown for today. For the Rampage that's still going on, I hope you guys are having a lot of fun watching it. Those of you who are, we have a heck of a. You don't have your soundboard applause?
Yeah, it's over there. I'm in a totally different. My office is. I have like 17 different. I'll send you pictures.
I have no idea what that's like. I've never had to move offices because of internet issues.
I have Kate's phone number. Just saying.
It's true. You too. Pro tip.
I send the
pics.
pics.
Those pictures. All right.
Pro tip. I will be sending you the pic.
That's right. But that is our show for tonight. I think it was a good Smackdown. I hope you guys are enjoying Rampage. But Alex, plug your stuff before we get out of here.
Yeah, so you can find me on the X until they start charging. That's when my sugar daddy will probably stop paying for it. And you could also find me on the Instagram at Alexis Cardoza, where it's fun in there. Same thing with Threads. If you guys are new to Threads, go come hang out. It's actually getting a lot of steam now with all this Twitter crap. So
yeah, Wait, you have someone that's just paying for your blue check mark and you don't know even like who it is, right? That's hysterical to me.
I tried Googling the address of some weird ass warehouse in the middle of nowhere in Texas. So,
oh my God. Well, just make sure you're using NordVPN so nobody can find you. That's all I'm saying.
No, they can't find me. Yeah, I always use Nord for everything.
See? Smart man.
I am a smart man. I got to be careful with my browsing history. But yeah, go ahead and do your thing now.
You can find me at Miss Kayfabe on Twitter and TikTok. You can also find me at Katestagrams on Instagram. But more importantly, you can find me on the Fightful main channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday with your NXT, ROH/Impact, and Smackdown reviews. You can also catch me on Tower Grabs on Mondays doing the Raw review and Wednesdays at the Mark Order. And you can find me at Wrestle Dream Live. If you're going, please say hi. I got to meet so many wonderful people at Grand Slam that came up and just had super nice things to say. Friends in media who I hadn't met in person before that I absolutely adore. Some friends that I hadn't seen in a while. Just a really wonderful time. So if you're going to be in Seattle, please let me know, but please do not bother me during the tag match or the ZSJ Danielson match. I will throw fists.
She will throw a fish at you.
I will throw fish and fists. I won't throw fish. Be kind to animals, but say hi to me. Stay tuned for your Collision post show tomorrow. That's going to be some really, really fun stuff. And Grapsody, of course. The grind don't stop, man. We got a lot going on, but stay tuned. Subscribe to Fightful Select and have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We're out of here.